Alright guys, so we're going to learn, I don't want to say another way to divide because it's just another way really to do your area model, okay? So don't let it freak you out. They just like to call it something different, but it's really not. And I'm going to show you why here to prove it. Alright, so I picked us a problem, 1,235 divided by 5. And it's really about the way they start to write it using, this is called a division bar rather than the actual rectangle. But really, if you look at this, and I really want you to, this is the same thing as if I were to just enclose it into that rectangle like the area model, right? Okay, so this is the same thing as this. It's just written a different way. All right, so first what I want to do is I want to work out the area model first. And then we'll look at it using something called a partial quotient, just like partial product. And it's part of the answer. And I want to show you how it's the exact same thing. All right, so before I start this problem, I'm going to go ahead and make my 5C chart. And we can use it on both of them because you're going to need a T-chart no matter when you divide. You're going to need it every time. All right, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. All right, so I'm going to draw my area model. My total number is 1,235, and I'm dividing that by 5. Now, none of these are anywhere close to 1,000, so that tells me I need to make it, okay, 10 times larger. So I'm going to add a 0, multiplying everything by 10. Alright, so again, nothing in my chart is anywhere close to 1,235. The closest is 450, and that's still far away. So I'm going to add another 0. That's like multiplying my chart by 100. I'm making everything 100 times larger. Okay, so now I can get pretty close. Now 1,500 is too far, so I have to use this fact here. So 200 groups, right? 200 groups gets me to 1,000. So when I subtract, I get left with 235. All right, so then I'm going to drag that over, 235, and I'm going to look for that on my chart. Well, now my smallest thing is 500, so that's just too much. So I'm going to take just 1 0 off and see if that does anything. If not, we can go ahead and take the other 0 off. So let's start by just taking 1. All right, so then look, here's 200, 250. It's a little bit more than this one. 250 would be too much. So I'm going to say plus 40 more groups. Gives me 200 I can take away. That's 35. That's still too much. I need to add another box on over here, don't I? Alright, so I'm going to drag 35 over. 50 is my smallest thing, so now I get to take away that other 0. Taking off the zeros, taking off the zeros. Alright, so 35. Look, oh, there's exactly 35. Okay, so plus 7 more groups minus 35 leaves me a 0. So to find my answer, I add these up and get 247. Alright, so that's using an area model. Now let's come over here with our partial quotients. This is written with this division bar right here. Okay, but it's worked the exact same way. Okay, so let me draw another T-chart just because so you can see it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, so it's the same thing. I'm looking for 1,235. Remember how we had to add those 2 zeros on? Guess what? We've got to add those 2 zeros on again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make it 100 times larger by just adding the 2 zeros. Okay, so the closest I can get is 1,000. Well, guess what? That's the exact same thing we did right here. Okay, so I put the 200 on top, just like I did there, and I subtract 1,000. 235. Now, the only difference is I don't drag this over, okay? I just leave it here. And I'm going to say plus, and now I'm going to look for something that equals 235. This is where we had to take off the 1 0, okay? Just like we did on our area model. So I'm taking off the 1 0. All right, so now the closest I can get is 200, just like I did right here. Same thing. I'm going to put 40 on top, just like I did right here. Look, same exact thing. I've subtracted 1,000, just like over here. Now, with my 40, it's minus 200. I just do it underneath. Okay, look, I did minus 200 right there. So now I have 35. Okay, now I'm going to mark off my next 0. Make it 10 times smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to look for 35, which I have exactly, exactly here. So I'm going to put plus 7, just like I did here. And then I'm going to subtract 35, just like I did right here. And you get the same thing. And then you add, and you get 247. So instead of moving this way on your model, okay, you're just moving down instead of using the box. The exact same steps. So I don't want it to confuse you. So I'm going to work another one using this, the partial quotients. If you prefer your area model right here, you prefer how it moves that way, then stick with that. It's still partial quotient, okay? Exact same thing. Okay, one more. All right, so we have 1,000. Let's draw my model. And I'm going to do these at the same time, okay? 1,280 divided by 4. 1,280 divided by 4. All right, so we need to do a T-chart for our 4s. Let's do it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 36. Now, nothing is anywhere close to 1,280, so then let's add some zeros. Make our chart 10 times larger. Man, that's still not anywhere close. Okay, let's add another 0. Let's make it 100 times larger. Ooh, that one's close. Right here. Right there. Okay, so we're going to take out a group of 300. I'm going to write it on both of mine, same place, and then subtract 1,200 on both of them. Okay, you end up with 80 and 80. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for 80. So I'm going to take off a 0. off the 0 on this side. Oops. All right, so I'm looking for 80. Look, I have 80 right here exactly. So I'm going to say, oh, bring that 80 over. So I'm going to say plus a group of 20, which is minus 80, plus a group of 20, and minus 80. You end up with 0. So then that's your answer, 320. Okay, so same exact thing, exact same way. All right, I think we have time for one more. All right, so we have 2,736 divided by 5. 2,736 divided by 5. So I need a 5's chart. And then that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay. So I'm looking for something that equals 2,736. Now, I'm going to show you a shortcut on your chart if you're ready for it. If this confuses you, draw your zeros. It's okay. So I'm going to look for something that's close to 27. Okay, 27, which is 25. Now, if I add 2 zeros on this side to make it 2,500, which is really close to this, I need to add 2 zeros on this side. And then I don't have to draw all those zeros on my chart. So I'm going to say 500, 500, and then I can take away 2,500. And I just made that part of my chart 100 times bigger. And that's okay to do. So 236 is what I'm left with. All right, so let's see. I can maybe find something close to 23 on my chart. 20 is pretty close. So if I add a 0 on it, 200 is really close to that. So let's do that. And I add 1 0 here and there. So I'm going to say 40 groups minus 200. All right, so then let's see. When I subtract that, I get 36. And then I'm going to put my plus 40 over here, minus 200, that's 36. Okay, so exact same steps. Now I'm going to look for something close to 36. Well, 35 is really close down here. So I'll say, oh, and look, I started even working it this way. That's so funny. I didn't even drag it over like the normal area model. Oh, well, see, they're so similar. So plus 7 minus 35 gives me 1. Plus 7 minus 35 gives me 1. So that becomes my remainder. So 547, remainder 1. 547, remainder 1. All right. So your choice, which model you prefer. If you like it this way, do it that way. If you like partial quotients, do it that way. I'm going to leave that one up to you.